starting these things.
How did you start your Instagram one you did yesterday?
I don't remember.
Oh, like, hey guys, because that's usually how you start.
Yeah, I think that's what I did, because I was talking, yeah. Okay. This is worse than giving a talk.
It might be worse than giving birth.
Our 20th anniversary a couple of weeks ago, so we turned this into a 20th anniversary trip and went to the Sodalitas conference in Louisville, which I've been doing that for 6 years. No, this was year number 5. Year number 5. Yeah, because my first year was 2016.
It feels longer.
Feels longer. We spent 4 days down there, and we got to have dinner with good friends and just hang out, and then go to the conference together and
reconnect with people at the conference that we haven't seen in a year.
Exactly. And then, you know, go back to the camper and just chat about all the stuff we had heard during the conference and stuff that we found intriguing or stuff that we were still pondering, which, you know, that was really, really cool. It was, for those that have been following on Facebook or Instagram over the past year, you know that, long story short, my dad was in the hospital for about 4.5 months. And we were still in the middle of selling our house at that time, and of course the house sold while he was in the hospital, which, I mean, was a huge blessing, but we had to live in our camper for a month between closings, and we moved in 2 days before Christmas. And but that's been a huge blessing. Like, we walk around, we have 5 acres now, which honestly, we'd reached the point where we never in a million years thought that that would ever happen. It's very humbling, very, wow, what a blessing. Yeah.
It's an incredible blessing, not just for, you know, us as a couple, but also for the kids.
Oh my gosh.
It's really let them,
just complete life change for them.
Yeah, just kind of really be kids, because, you know, where we were before was, you know,
hard to do that.
Inner city and just very kind of oppressive.
Yeah.
So this just lets them just be kids.
Exactly.
Explore agriculture and
yeah.
nature and all the things.
One of the talks at the conference, she was like, you know, let your kids be kids, you know, let them go, you know, wander around and pick, you know, blackberries and get stuck by the thorns. And we're looking at each other like, yeah, we're doing that. We're able to do that now. So that was kind of cool, but it's just been a nice reset, I think, for us as a couple, because, you know, when things get so crazy, the connectedness is usually one of the first things that can go, just because you're still connected and communicating, but you're just so focused on getting through things. So
you're very much in kind of survival mode, and only the most important things are the things that you put your attention towards.
Or I would say the most urgent, because I think it's the important that ends up getting missed. And
the things that are urgent, the things that are look at me, I'm shining, you need to take care of me right now.
Right. Yeah. It was really cool, because I looked over at him during one of the plenaries, and he actually had a smile on his face while he was listening to it and everything. So I was like, oh, that's so cute. I'll have to put that picture in here.
At least you still think I'm cute.
Yeah. 20 years, you're still cute? Yeah, we're good. Okay. So what was your favorite thing from the conference?
Books that we would consider to be for children, reading them as adults, or teaching them to our children as adults. There are so many things that we can glean from that really can affect our lives and make us better people.
Yeah. I think we kind of got a taste of that, especially in Mr. Yonke's poetry.
Yeah.
We got to go to 2 of the parent enrichment track sessions, and MP's Kyle Yonke was going over poetry, was the first one, and then contemplating architecture was the second one. And yeah, that poetry one was really, like, invigorating. It was awesome.
I think that was probably my favorite of all of the breakout sessions we went to. It's what he knows so well. So he was excited about it,
Yeah.
and really got everybody really engaged. Like, I think that was probably one of the sessions that had the most engagement from.
Yeah, because we were all working together to, you know, understand.
The meaning of poetry.
Yeah, we were working on Keats's Ode to a Nightingale, and just going through stanza by stanza the imagery and what he's actually saying. When it appears he's saying one thing, you realize, no, he's actually headed this direction instead. And yeah, that was really cool. And I mean, Andrew Pudua, you know, you can't really ever not like Andrew Pudua for plenaries. His on Memory was really good, and I love the insight that you and the other dads came to. They had a dad's night on Monday, and they were talking about Andrew Pudua's talk, where he said that technology really atrophies the skills that it replaces. And so the guys were talking about that, and they were like, well, you know, for those who have a hard time remembering things, which, hello, you know, that would be, I think, both of us. He does a better job than I do. But they were saying, you know, technology is such a huge help for those of us that struggle to remember things. But then the guys were talking more, and they're like, yeah, but then that means that whoever is running the technology is controlling our memory. They're controlling what we are able to remember, and
they're telling us what we should remember or how we should remember it.
Yeah, and I'm like, that was a huge insight. I'm like, that's kind of scary, you know? Yeah. You're relying on an algorithm to give you the results so that you can get that, you know, good cross-section, so that you can, you know, seek and come to the truth. And if you are only being presented with what the algorithm thinks applies, then you're never going to get that whole picture. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool insight that you guys came to.
Well, and Dr. Dre was awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Dre was just awesome.
Shamed us all for social media at all.
So we're headed home, and the kids are ready for us to be back. The teamwork has been very impressive. We've been checking in, and yeah, before we left, I was like, remember, teamwork keeps things peaceful. And they've lived up to that. I've been very happy with that. I got some great tips that are going to help us with our current astronomy lessons. So I'm really excited about using those, and some other really nice things I gleaned. Biggest takeaway for us is going to be more on the family level. Kathy Becker's talk about creating a beautiful homeschool, and it was actually a talk of hers a couple of years ago that got me back in the mode of, you know, doing little things around the house to bring beauty. You know, just, you know, everything else could be in chaos, but there would be a vase of flowers on the table, you know, that type of stuff. And that's been a big help. And I think her talk this year was kind of a challenge to carry that to the next step. And you know, she was talking about the importance of, you know, sitting down together as a family, and the importance of reading as a family. And we do read as a family, although I've let that slide the past few months. Aaron's been coming to me more and being like, can we read a story? And I used to be a lot better about that, so I need to get back into that for sure. But the other thing was, you know, eating together as a family, and that is something we are horrible at, like, beyond. I think
part of the problem, I think, is just having, you know, so many older teenagers. There's so many things going on that it's hard to kind of gather everybody up and be like, okay, this is the time that we stop.
Yeah, because even if they're home, people are kind of still in their own, you know, projects and stuff like that. But
nobody wants to stop.
And nobody wants, yeah. And we're also a very ADHD household, so I think that is a big thing. Like, we all have that. A very common ADHD thing is that you feel like sitting down to eat is a waste of time, and that it's constraining you. And so, you know, you're more likely to eat standing up or eat while you're in the living room doing, you know, 5 other things. So I think we come by it naturally, but it's definitely something we need to work on.
One of the things that I thought of
used to read to the girls, who are all of our younger kids. And actually, our youngest boy would usually creep in the room too and want to listen in. But he's, oh gosh, you guys read all of Narnia series. You read
Fellowship of the Ring. I read Two Towers.
Oh, did you make it through Two Towers?
We made it through Two Towers.
Okay.
But we also did all of the Little House books. Some of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales.
I want to say you guys did all of that in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm trying to remember what triggered it stopping.
It stopped when we started doing major construction work on the old house.
Okay, when all the repairs started on the house. Yeah, and that's also when the pandemic started. Like, it just all converged. Yeah, okay.
Up to that point, we'd had a pretty decent routine down.
Yeah.
People, even with health problems and, comings and comings and stuff like that. But at the same time, our kids were younger.
And the kids were younger, yeah. So there wasn't as much going and coming.
Right. With that in mind, what do we want our house to look like? And no matter what else is going on, what are the things that are an absolute?
Right.
What are the things that it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing or wants to be doing or what have you? This always happens.
Right, yeah. We're also both very much the type, like, okay, let's do this, let's do all the things, get it done, and 2 weeks later it all falls apart. So I think we need to just kind of sit back and, we're going to have to think through, okay, we know these are the things that we want to reestablish or put in place, but what's the one, maybe two, if they're both small, that we're going to do first?
Right.
Get those in hand and then add. So it'll be a few month process in getting those together, but hopefully we can, that'd be a good thing to include on the channel, actually, as those things, how we figured them out and what they end up looking like. I think that'd be good.
I'd like to have it figured out and actually have it in place so that by autumn.
That's kind of an interesting thing about the new house, is that because we're surrounded by nature a lot more, and then there's various garden things to take care of and stuff like that, we're definitely feeling the seasonality of things more.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And not even just in a nature way, but also in the rhythms of the house. So like, we moved in the middle of winter, and I was doing a lot of crochet and knitting, and so were the girls, and we were focused on more of that type of thing. And then spring never even really came. It was kind of crazy weather this year. But once things finally started getting to the point where we could start working on the land and clearing some of the trees that had died and stuff like that, those wintertime projects kind of naturally just went to the side. And
because I was doing a lot of reading in the evenings and stuff during the winter when it's colder and it gets dark earlier and what have you. It's like, okay, well, it's dark early, but I can't really work outside anymore. I can't, I'm not going to sit there and watch TV or whatever, so I'd read. But then as the days get longer and it's warmer and there's more activities to do outside, I find that reading just doesn't happen as much.
mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I know that it's there, and I look forward to
when the fall and winter come.
Yeah. As the season changes, I know it's coming back, and so I don't have to be stressed about I'm not doing this. It's okay, it's coming back.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know, it's a really neat flow to get into, because same thing, I'm like, I've still got some projects I didn't finish over the winter. I'm like, I should be doing this, and I'm like, no, it's just not their time. This is the time for different things. We didn't have to leave civilization or anything to reach that point. I mean, we actually live on one of the main roads in our county, and we're surrounded by neighbors, but just there's that buffer of, we have a few acres, there's a buffer there, it has trees, and so it's not something where it had to be a complete, off-grid type experience or anything like that. It was just enough.
And the thing too is that because we were under the impression at first when we first started looking for property that we were going to need to go 30 to 45 minutes to an hour to get that kind of piece we were looking for. But we realized that it was also going to require us to change a lot of things, where we shopped, how we could visit family, what church we were going to. Like, there were a lot of different things that were involved that would have had to change. And since we have only moved 15 minutes away, but we have the things that we were looking for, we haven't had to change any of those things.
Yeah, that's the thing. It kept a lot the same while also opening up new opportunities. So they're closer to friends, we're closer to family friends, and we're halfway between two towns, so like literally halfway, so we have more options for a couple of things. So yeah, like, so in a way it's expanded their opportunities, which has been really cool too. So yeah, it was neat to see how God shifted our mindset on that, to be, to where we're like, oh, this does not have to be like turn everything upside down scenario.
Right.
And I think that can be encouraging to a lot of people who may have that feeling like, well, we'd have to change everything to change this one thing. And I will say that changing location, yes, it contributed to a lot of peace in our family. It solved a lot of issues that were things that we could help a little bit in town, but not a lot. But at the same time, there's no magic bullet for anything. And so it was not a case of, well, we have to do this, otherwise, nothing will ever be right, or something like that. It was...
We could have survived with where we were. And
yeah.
That was the point that we had come to. It's just like, okay, well, how do we make this the most beautiful and comfortable place for everyone to live, where we can reduce...
Within our limits,
right.
Within our means.
Reduce that anxiety.
And so we definitely had come to the point where we need to stop looking outside of this, and we need to just be like, okay, this is where God has placed us, and this is what we need to work with.
And then we learned that was the lesson that he was trying to teach us all along, and then it's like, oh, yeah. Now that you figured that out, now it's time to move.
Exactly, yeah. Spring of 2021 was when everything just literally fell in our lap. We're like, wait, God's doing what? Because this was not in the plan at all. So,
least of the plans.
Yeah, so yeah, I do think you're right. It was God has been trying to teach us. It took him 15 years to get, for it to get through our thick heads, but between the house and this trip, there are some huge life changes going on, with our son going to college. It just kind of feels like a time of reset, yet continuity. It's not like this huge upheaval. It's just a return. It's a return to a few things that we've let loose of, and while also looking forward to this new phase, where we now have two kids mostly on their own and everything. Not to say that we still don't have, oh gosh, like we were sick for what, 4 months straight this past spring? Oh my golly day. But so yeah, nothing is ever easy. There is still going to be plenty to work through, but we're definitely resting in the blessings while we continue the fight. we are recharged enough to keep head back into battle and yeah.
Say, okay, what needs to be done, what organization needs to be set, what things need to be changed, what things do I maybe need to either cut out of my life or reduce in my life, so that I can be present and make sure that what's needed is being done.
We're still very much homeschooling, and I've only got 5 this time around, which is definitely a change of pace from our 6 and 7. I've got kindergarten, a couple of kids using Simply Classical. They are 10 years old and 13 years old. I have an 11-year-old in 5th grade, and then I have a 9th grader. And those are going to be their grades through November. We actually changed up our homeschool schedule. We're running January to November now. And oh my gosh, that has been a lifesaver. I have loved it. So I definitely will be either writing or doing a video, maybe both, on how we're running that. And so yeah, anything in those grades or other grades that I've taught, you know, that you're wondering about, Memoria Press, you know, just let me know what you guys like to chat about. Love connecting with you guys, and be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram. I will put the links down below for those. And I just really love being able to connect with people on that on a regular basis, since I can't be on the channel all the time. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from y'all. Take care.
Subscribe.
And subscribe. See, he's better at this than I am. Take care, guys. Bye.